Let's talk Josh Allen and I'll give credit where credit's due. This is the Buffalo Bills SI page, and I hate it when people act like they came up with the stat themselves. All right, so Josh Allen over the last 2 weeks, 704 passing yards, 151 rushing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns, 0 turnovers. And this is what I would say in watching him. There is this crazy look in his eyes where he looks like a kid out there playing backyard football, where he is the happiest human being in the world. What is he? He's like 6'5", 237.
He's a big dude.
He's a beast.
Yep.
And obviously the conversation yet again is that he's unquestionably the MVP. How are you feeling about him, and how are you discussing this on Good Morning Football?
The last number was the most important one to me. 0 turnovers. The thing we've always said about him is how reckless he can be, and it's no fun in watching him play that way because of his size and because of his arm. If he's just, every 12th throw, he's coughing the ball up. And if you're just going to throw a moon ball to some guy and it's going to go into the hands of a defender or get knocked down, what's the point? And if you can run your pants off in a game, it doesn't matter if you're just going to have it be strip sack from behind. The teams just weren't quite right in years past. I don't know what was going on, within the wide receiver room, and whoever was there, it doesn't matter anymore. This team obviously is the one that works for the Bills. And to me, the biggest thing is the 0 turnovers. I don't know what changed, but it's protect the ball. Protect the ball. But it's not out of a stress. He doesn't look stressed. That point, it's like he looks like he's playing with joy. So it's not like he's trying to not throw.
Fair enough.
Throw turnovers. He's just taking care of it.
And my only reference to protect the ball is just don't turn it over. Start with that.
Yeah.
Don't turn it over.
Yeah.
So I agree. It's a big deal.
Yeah. I will say this, though, and I'll push back about what you just said a second ago. You said it doesn't matter. It does. Chemistry is everything with the team. And let's face it, there's a lot less drama in that locker room. We see it through their coach as well.
Yeah.
And it resonates throughout. Whenever there's an issue in the locker room, you know this so well from your time having to be in locker rooms. When there is strife in a locker room, it plays out on the field. You know this, Amy, better than anybody.
And I will share this with you because we're talking about the wide receiver issue in Buffalo. We see what's going on in Philadelphia. I'm telling you, throughout my career, if I wanted to be not diplomatic, I'd use the word diva. If I wanted to be diplomatic, I would say requires a bit more attention. That's the wide receiver position.
Just in general, a little bit more hands-on emotionally.
That's actually much more diplomatic than the way I said it. A little more hands-on.
It's like kids. Like that child requires a little bit more hands-on attention.
Yeah. He's a lot. She's a lot. I mean, it really is. There's a code for it. Is there any question in your mind that he's the MVP?
No. And I really wanted it to be Saquon.
Me too.
I did. The story's so great, and he's such a good person. And just when you write this season, I always think about how would I describe this season to someone in 5 years, and I think about what would be a really cool story to tell. And Saquon it's always going to be a cool story. This one would be very simply the Chiefs were a weird team, and we'll see what they do with that. Saquon did this ridiculously petty thing, even though he's like the least petty person on the planet. And he went to the Philadelphia Eagles, and now he looks like he's also playing with such joy. But it has become Josh Allen, undoubtedly, to me. And I don't know. I always think about when the actual voting happens. Like, I'm sure some people can send their ballot in now, or it's cuts off at the end of the season. But it's so crazy to me that, God forbid, the Bills trip up in the first weekend and they have some sickeningly heartbreaking playoff end. And he has to be standing up there in a tuxedo at honors, getting an MVP for a season that was just totally unfulfilled. I hate the fact that it's not voted on until later. But it is. So for right now, it is Josh Allen, but I really wanted it to be Saquon.
You mentioned Saquon. The thing that stood out, and Suzy and I have discussed that, when he was offered the ability to go back into the game and break a record, and he said, no, let's let the other guys play. Yeah. I mean, I get goosebumps to this. I just gave myself goosebumps thinking about that. That's a teammate.
And that Grant Calcaterra, who had his first touchdown the other day, and he was like, that was your first one? Where's the ball? Like, he was advocating to find it. They got it. What a cool guy.
Back to Josh before we move on.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kind of like still thinking about him. The other thing I keep thinking about is, at what point will they take him out of the games? At what point will he stop running? I mean, there was a moment late in the game I thought, like, you know what, maybe don't run. Because you get nervous about injuries this time of year. And that's the other thing I was thinking, look, Saquon had the least amount of yards, I believe, this past weekend running, and that was just the nature of the game. I start to think about the playoffs and I start to look ahead and I start to think, I just don't want that player hurt. I almost thought in this game, Josh Allen has done everything he could. The game was safe. Mm-hmm. It's like, here's a lovely, nice cape to wear on the sidelines that's protected from the cold. Like, get him off the field.
It's a really smart point, because all it takes is one play and you lose them for the playoffs.
Yep. Well, I always think too, like we just did the math, the Chiefs, if they win 2, no matter what, they've locked in the home playoff. So like week 18, just no matter what, it does not matter. Do you just keep him out? Because if you don't buy yourself a bye by winning into it, you got to create a bye maybe for him, just like to protect him against his own self.
Check out new episodes of What the Football with Suzy Shuster and Amy Trask every Tuesday. Watch us on the Rich Eisen Show YouTube page or follow and listen wherever you get your podcasts.